Welcome inside our studios here in Atlanta. It is game time. Good to have you start another week of the NBA season. Casey Stern, Candace Parker, the Hall of Fame, Zeke, Isaiah Thomas. This is fun. There's a lot going on. We've got games, smiles. You know, see now she's smiling.
Hey, come on,
I'm smiling.
Yeah, we happy.
All right, not because I'm here, but you know why we're happy, because we've got a big game. Western Conference, everybody trying to kind of figure it out. But before we get to that, let's talk about what we can't figure out, shall we? Our buddy John Schumann puts up the power rankings and had a better New Year's than we had, did he not, Zeke? So I'm putting my glasses on. So
he was drinking a lot of that
What
Sherlock
is missing
champagne.
here from this picture?
The Golden State Warriors?
Yes!
Has he heard of a guy named DeMarcus Cousins? I'm just wondering.
Now, if this was Trivial Pursuit, it would be like Sports and Leisure. It would be like, what is wrong here? Is anyone in the right spot?
I'm betting his house on this one.
Anyone?
No. No. No.
You can get John Schumann on Twitter and at NBA.com. Meanwhile, Denver and the Rockets going at it. Nikola Jokic early.
Nikola.
How about some bully ball?
Too little.
Oh.
You too little.
PJ Tucker, mouse in the house.
And I love that the referees didn't call an offensive foul. When the little guy down there guarding a big guy, he should get housed.
Harden, Capella, everybody on the Rockets getting at it offensively early. Nice look to Tucker, who had 7 threes, a career high. And then Harden. Candace?
Oh, my goodness. It was wet. It was wet on the floor, Casey. Check the leakage.
Where's that squeegee?
As my mama would say, got to be more careful.
That's an Up to the Rim nominee. You get that on Fridays with Smitty.
Got to
Man.
be more careful.
I'll tell you what, it makes it look easy. Look at a continuous stretch of 35 or more every game. Lead at the break was 10. Rockets extend it. Oh, we had Trivial Pursuit before. How about triple word scores? We got a lot of those. There's Tucker in the corner. 21, all from 3. And then Capella, who look, career high with 31 points and 9 boards. We never seem to give him the credit he deserves.
He doesn't. And his ability to finish around the basket, those weren't dunks.
No.
These weren't alley-oop dunks that Chris Paul or James Harden was throwing him. He was finishing in traffic with touch.
For Harden, a 3 is pretty much a dunk now. And then Capella says, point guard, no problem. I'll steal it from you. Thank you very much. 125-107. They win at 125-113. Injuries, yes, but resilient. Give them a ton of credit. Game of the day coming up at 4 o'clock Eastern on Tuesday. The streak of 35 a game is over, but Capella gets his career high and a career high 7 threes for PJ Tucker, who talked to us via Arena Link on GameTime about everybody fitting into their role.
Every night here is different. The way James is rolling, you just kind of fill in spots. You know, everybody just do their job, play their role. He gets it going. He gets our offense fueled. So, one night you might get 10, 11 shots. One night you might not get but 1 or 2. But it's just playing the same way every single game.
Well, this is pretty good. How do you like the 3 teammates with 6 threes or more in the same game? Is there any category of three-point related anything that the Rockets don't have now really locked up in the record book?
Maybe with the asterisk of like 2 of your top scorers out, then 2 other people step up and hit more than 6 threes. Since we're going deep into
It's amazing.
NBA
Clay and
records.
Steph still got that,
individually.
13, 14.
Right.
Threes,
Maybe.
but I think I can't find one from a team.
It's amazing.
They may have every team record.
You know, I wanted to kind of hit
Makes and misses.
a bunch of these. Let's start with PJ Tucker, Zeke, because you got to have glue guys to win championships in any of the sports. And you can have stars. And PJ Tucker is a guy who talks there about knowing his role as a coach and as a guy who was a star, who needed those players. How much do you enjoy hearing guys like that understand exactly what they're supposed to do to help the team on a given night?
You love hearing that from a player, not only understanding his role, but also having sincere enthusiasm and passion about his role and being able to emotionally give to the team where everybody can enjoy and support and be genuinely happy for James Harden. I heard no jealousy, no, well, I'm not the guy, but it's like everybody's sincerely happy that Harden is playing this well and that the team is playing well. And, winning covers a multitude of sins. So, when they were down and they wasn't playing well, I thought we would hear a lot more bickering, and we didn't. So that speaks a lot to the role players on the team and how they've handled stuff.
As the cool kids, I guess, would say, and Candace was cooler than me, so she would know. The only thing not in his bag right now in terms of Harden is a razor, because he's got everything else. And it's been talked about where he is now in terms of
when he shaved,
offensive
gonna jump out of
players.
some living in that beard. Some gonna jump out of there.
Type of power. That's what's
This is why Isaiah didn't want that issue. So I'll try not to have anything jump out here. But you talk about the offensive player. As somebody who knows how hard it is, the work you have to put in, both of you guys do, to get to that level, what is it like watching a player who's got that kind of skill set now offensively in Harden?
Well, I think early on, the basketball purists of the game said, you can't play isolation basketball and win a game. Mm-hmm. D'Antoni looked like a fool when he moved James Harden to the point guard position and basically gave him the keys to the offense. And in doing that, the floor is so spaced because he surrounded him with, three-point shooting, with his ability to play make. And that's the thing. James Harden makes the correct play.
Yeah.
He is not.
Yeah,
he's not selfish in the sense that he's going to take something that the defense doesn't give him. He goes in there, and Clint Capella benefits, and that's how you measure a great player. What do the players around you do? Are they raising their level of play? And honestly, PJ Tucker is having an outstanding year this year in itself.
Let me ask you this as we kind of close out this spot here with the Rockets. They've grown, but a lot of talk goes back to the offseason about losing some of that defensive prowess. If they get CP3 healthy and are as constituted, are they good enough to give the Warriors the trouble they gave them last year?
The Rockets will always have the question mark until they actually do it. They've knocked at the door a couple of times, and they didn't open it, right? CP3, James Harden, those two as individuals have knocked on the door a couple of times. This whole window of opportunity that we talk about, it's been there for them a couple of times. When do they step through and when do they grab the trophy? And until they do that, there's going to be a question mark. And, they're great in the regular season, but let's see the playoffs.
All right, nothing jumping out of beards on set, but we're all jumping out of our seats watching this guy play basketball because Freak and there aren't enough names.
He's got the Freak in his beard.
Although the unis maybe not exactly as nice as his game. Kyrie is back. What does it mean for the Celtics in Uncle Drew's return? We'll take a look. Houston Rockets and the Denver Nuggets are game of the night. Rockets win at 125-113. The stretch of 35 points each time out for James Harden ends, settles for, and I say that jokingly, 32, 14, and 5 on a big night. But enough about that. Our next guest, we'll find out if he's entering the three-point competition coming up in Charlotte. As we welcome in PJ Tucker, who knocked down 7 of them in 11 tries. PJ, first of all, congrats on the W. For you, talk about how good it feels. You do so many things to help out the team, but to feel it like you did from deep tonight.
Man, it was a blessing. It's crazy. Every night here is different. The way James is rolling, you just kind of fill in spots. Everybody just do their job, play their role. He gets it going. He gets our offense fueled. So, one night you might get 10, 11 shots. One night you might not get but 1 or 2. But it's just playing the same way every single game.
PJ, you've had to adjust to that in terms of, sometimes you get 1 shot, sometimes you get 10 shots, and you've always focused on your defense, and you've always been a solid player. My question to you is, when all of you were down a couple of weeks ago, and you were there in 15 teams in the West, you were at 14, what did y'all do to rally around each other? What were the conversations that were had to get y'all back on track and to get everybody feeling this good and playing this well?
Zig, it's interesting you say that because it's one of those things where we got a new team this year. Everybody always talk about last year. We got a whole new team this year. We got a lot of new guys. And, when we got down early, we just encouraged all the new guys to keep on pushing. At the end of the day, every time you look at games, everybody's beating everybody in the NBA early. Even though we were like 14th or whatever we were still like 5 or 6 games out of second and third. Like, it was crazy. So it was one of those things we just kept looking at it and just told everybody just kept chipping away. And really, honestly, all the injuries, all the things we've had going on all year, we've had guys from the D League. We've had a lot of stuff going on, but everybody just came in and do what we wanted. So it's just trying to stay focused all 82 games. It's a long season.
As fans, we all watched James Harden, obviously over this last month, do incredible things. Can you talk to us about, as a teammate, to witness that firsthand and be a part of basically history?
That's crazy. I'm not gonna lie. It's one of those things. Last year, he did some crazy stuff last year, but seeing him on that streak, that was amazing. Some of the shots, some of the plays he was making, he does a lot of that every night. But it was to the max. So it's one of those things where you, as a fan, you kind of, as a player, you're still a fan, and the way you get to watch your teammates and somebody you respect and you play with every day, just do something that he's doing. It's incredible.
Now, PJ, you've had a chance to play with, arguably two of the greatest offensive players of this generation in terms of Kevin Durant when you were, in college, and also now with James Harden. What do those two guys do in practice that we don't see that you can share with us that has made them so effective? And are there similarities?
That's tough. You know what? They two are probably the best offensive players I've ever played with and against ever seen, maybe. One thing I will say, I know JH, every single day, he is the last one to leave the gym. Like, he gets his routine in, no matter we on a back-to-back, no matter, if he's tired, if he's hurt, like, he gets his routine in. So those shots you see him make at the end of games and, behind the screens and splitting people and step backs, he practices that stuff every single day, and I'm in there with him, and it's amazing. In the summertime, he's doing that same stuff all the time. So, for me, just being around him so much, to see him actually do it in games, I know he can make it, and I try to get him open as much as I can because I know he can do it. Just seeing him do it every single day, so it's pretty incredible. And Katie's the same way.
PJ, I got to ask you before we let you run, because you guys have so much talent on this team, obviously went as deep as you did last year, and it's still somehow, and it's hard to say underrated because I know he got paid to stay with the team, but Clint has a career high, 31 points tonight, and I always talk about the fact that I don't think people give enough credit to all the things he does to make everybody better. So for those who don't maybe understand the importance of Capella, can you give us a sense as a teammate of why it's so imperative that he's a part of this basketball team?
It's funny. I always talk about it. Nobody talks about Clint. Like, Clint is he's the part of our team that nobody talks about, but is probably the most important part. Everybody, obviously James does so much, Chris does so much, but we honestly got a big three because Clint Capella, every single night. The way he monsters the boards, the way he catches our lobs, he has great hands, the way he makes plays in the pocket when they double James. Just makes real good decisions. His energy, running the floor every night, he just brings another aspect that I don't think any other big in the league actually can do like he does every single night.
On the way out, tougher to defend James in practice or to match up with his attire entering the arena every night?
Definitely harder to guard him in practice.
PJ, appreciate it, man. Thanks, bro.
Hey, I want them shoes, man. I'm for real,
Hey,
man.
Zeke, I'm going to keep them shoes for you. Zeke, they're yours.
I'll be there to do a game. I'm going to ask you for them.
They're going to be in my locker.
I'm going to be my 12-year-old self again. Hey, PJ, can I get them shoes?
Done deal.
All right, PJ, be good, man. That's PJ
Thanks,
Tucker.
bro. Thanks,
this team has the one thing you got to be fair with. They're resilient. You say what you want about whether or not you dribble too much, or you like the way everybody's got their own comments, Zeke, about how the Rockets are. They dealt with a lot of injuries. A lot of people say no. They had the whole Melo situation, which it seemed like kind of a train wreck, just didn't work. They've shown a lot of resilience, right? I know James has played great, but you look at it, really everybody's stepped up now for this team.
Well, when you talk about his resilience and perseverance, and you hear P.J. Tucker talk about his hard work and work ethic, a lot of times we sit and we watch and we just marvel at, guys like him, guys like Steph, guys like Durant. But we don't see how much work they put into their craft. And to hear him talk that way about James Harden, because I'm used to seeing him doing this and just having fun out on the floor. But to hear him talk about how he's the first one in, the last one to leave, even on back-to-backs, getting his work in every time, he's setting a good example for that team. And as he said, we had a lot of new guys to come in, and we had to keep encouraging them. Now, if your best player isn't showing up for practice and working and setting that example in terms of a work ethic, those new guys, when you down on the bottom, they're going to have a hard time getting back up. So you have to give Harden a lot of credit for just showing up the way he practices and the way he goes about doing his business.
Now, you guys know this as stars. I mean, it's funny because I think about the handles, right? There's a lot of work in the gym you don't see, the amount of shots that are put up and all those sorts of things. And I think because of some of the brash nature of James, right? I mean, people kind of think it's all show. You don't just wake up and be able to play like that, clearly. So sometimes we shouldn't, but we need to almost hear it from a teammate, which is why it's a good question. So the people who look at it they think, okay, well, he gets fouls he shouldn't get. Well, that's great. But what about all the other things he did? The shot against Golden State, that didn't happen by accident. You practice those sorts of things for that moment, right?
Well, I look at it like a perfect storm. I mean, he has the natural abilities,
right,
but then to put in the time and the effort and the energy to be the first one in the gym. And we were talking in break. It's practice.
Yep.
It's practice where you gain your teammates' respects. And that's what he's done. I mean, you hear the way PJ talks about him. In practice, having to defend him. In practice, walking in and seeing him get up those shots. I mean, that's commendable, and I think he's definitely put this team on his back because nobody expected.
Seeing him doing it in the summer, he said.
Yeah.
Hey, look, if you can't show loyalty with hard work, you can always show it by putting your team's logo or something like it in your hair. For